Hello viewers and welcome to Novus Talks with me, your host Novus Gorvius. And I already did a YouTube short about this, but I wanted to do an actual video discussing the recent updated developments on the situation with Bayonetta 3. Because, as I'm sure you all know by this point, we got some new information from Bloomberg in a report detailing the whole situation going on with Helena Taylor and how much she was paid for Bayonetta 3 and exactly what's going on there. And obviously, we have no way as readers and as general consumers to verify this. So obviously a lot of people are still skeptical, but for the time being, it seems like this is where the story ends, because unless Nintendo or Platinum come out with something, or unless Helena Taylor shows us evidence of her contract or something, then there's really going to be no other updates to the story, because Helena's words implied she kind of just wants to move on. And her wording matched with what we've seen in Bloomberg's report. It seems to imply that she was lying all along, and she doesn't actually have the evidence to back up what she says. I mean, if she's not lying, then why doesn't she provide proof? She already broke the NDA, and she said she's not afraid of it, so why not show a contract or something to verify her claims? But as it stands right now, as of the time recording this, she hasn't done anything like that. As we learned in Bloomberg's report, and by the way, this completely surprised me, because I was fully on her side before this, but this report completely changed my perspective of the situation and put Helena Taylor in a new light for me. She said she'd gotten offered $4,000 for the whole game. She was misconstruing the truth there. She was initially offered $4,000 per session for 5 sessions for the whole game, which means in total she would have been paid around $15,000. She declined that because she wanted $100,000. When she didn't get that, Platinum offered her a cameo in the game for one recording session for $4,000, and she declined that too. And I think that's where she's taking her whole thing about she was only offered $4,000 from. I think she's specifically using that situation because in her eyes it represents the truth, even though it's only partially true. Obviously, like, you could tell from her video, she was very emotional. She probably wasn't in the most rational mind when making those videos. As a lot of people pointed out, it was probably all the marketing for Bayonetta 3 that set her off. The fact that people were welcoming Jennifer Hale as a new voice of Bayonetta, these sort of things, they all added up, and I guess Platinum's statement about overlapping circumstances is what set her over the edge, if I had to guess. But there really was no need for her to lie and to attack Jennifer Hale. And, you know, as I said, initially I was on her side, but the more you look into it and think about it, it really was a scummy move on her behalf. She didn't get the money she wanted, so she tried to take the entire game and the company down with her. That doesn't sound like someone who's playing fair ball to me. The results of this situation, though, is that her boycott seems to have failed, because Bayonetta 3 has shot up in pre-order charts. It's in like the top 10 on Amazon. It has gotten people talking about voice actors in video games and how much they get paid. With various other actors like Sean Chiplock and David Hayter chiming in to say how much they were offered for Breath of the Wild and Metal Gear Solid and things like this. So it has raised a discussion, so there is one good thing to come out of it. But her attitude and her behavior really has muddied the waters of the conversation a bit, and it's going to be awkward for people to take her in a serious light, and I guess the situation in a serious light, because she essentially threw a tantrum, as people are saying. And I feel sorry that Jennifer Hale got dragged into this. You know, she had nothing to do with this, but everyone started attacking her for no reason, and she's remained professional. Her responses are simplistic, but they say a lot when you actually read between the lines. And she's said about as much as she can. She just wants everyone to get on. She's a professional. She's done this for years. She knows the whole situation, and everyone seems to be on her side. Um, and that's, as I said already, that seems to be the end of it. But Platinum still lied. This doesn't change the fact that Platinum lied when they said she wasn't brought back for overlapping circumstances. And this grinded me for a bit. I felt like not enough people were bringing up the fact that Platinum still lied. However, after some careful consideration, technically it wasn't really a lie as much as it was them not wanting to expose her. Technically, it was overlapping circumstances because it was a pay issue and it was another voice actress being brought on board and her not accepting the offer. So, from a certain point of view, Platinum was right. And obviously, they weren't going to come out and say it was a pay issue because they didn't want to throw her under the bus because that was unprofessional, which is ironic since she didn't afford them the same courtesy. But when you look at it that way, Platinum doesn't seem so bad from that point of view. As for Hideki Kamiya, I still think he's not the greatest person. He's very... I enjoy him at times. Obviously, I like his work. I think he has a good sense of humor, but his whole attitude on blocking people on Twitter and essentially being racist really rubs me the wrong way, and I don't have a very high opinion of the guy. And his tweet, still think could have been worded a lot better, given the context. I was wrong when I called him out and I said that he was being scummy or whatever, so I'll take that back, just like everyone else. I was only going on the information available at the time. But my opinion of him particularly hasn't really changed. So where does that leave us? Where does that leave me? As someone who talked about in my last video how Bayonetta 2 was one of my favorite games and how I was already skeptical about Bayonetta 3. I said I was unsure about buying it. Will I be getting Bayonetta 3? I still don't know. The answer is probably. I will say it's probably. I'm not certain. Not because of the situation, but it's mainly because of just the look of the game itself and the fact that I'm preoccupied with other games at the moment, mainly Nier Automata, which for me, it's good that Platinum isn't really the bad guy in this situation because it means I don't have to worry about returning Nier Automata or selling all my Bayonetta stuff. I can still enjoy Platinum's titles, no bother. But yeah, other games are taking up the list, and Bayonetta 3 is, and has been since the beginning, one of my most anticipated Switch titles, but the trailers of the game haven't done much to get me excited, but in the end I will play it. And I think we all know, you know, I know, when I play the game, I'm probably going to love it. I'm probably going to take back all my complaints, because that's usually what I do. It's what I did with the Mario movie. You know, ever since I got burned so many years ago with Transformers The Last Night, I approach things I'm excited for from a very cautious angle nowadays. I don't want to get really excited for something and have all these high expectations and then just be slapped in the face. I suppose I go in with the opposite thing nowadays. I go in very negative and then I get surprised when everything turns out good. With the exception of Metroid Dread, I was very optimistic about that, and that did turn out fantastic in the end. But that was kind of the exception to how I'm operating with a lot of... It's not just games, it's movies as well. There's a lot of things that nowadays I'm just kind of skeptical of. And Bayonetta 3 is no different. I'm complaining about it now, but I guarantee you I'll pick up the game and I'll probably really enjoy it. And I don't know if I'll say it's as good as 2, but I'll have a really good time with it. So if that's the case, if I know I'm going to enjoy it, why don't I, get around to buying it immediately? Mainly because I don't want to rush through Nier Automata, and mainly because I don't want to rush through Bayonetta just to go back onto that and play something else. I want to give each game its due time and the love it deserves. Especially Bayonetta 3. I've been waiting 4 years since this thing. So I want to get stuck in when I get the chance and just have that take over all of my gaming time. That's kind of my perspective on it. So the short end of it is no, I am not boycotting Bayonetta 3. I will be picking it up. Secondhand or not? I don't know. Probably I'll get it firsthand, but we'll see. I am excited about the game, but I am skeptical of the quality. But I'm glad this situation is it's not really resolved, but it's put together in a way now where we have a clear picture of what's going on. And it makes the whole situation so much more bearable to wrap my head around, I suppose. And I'm sure it's the same for a lot of you as well. So yeah, that's really it. I just wanted to do a full-length video. I would have done this yesterday, but I decided I'd get the YouTube short out quickly just so my thoughts were there and I would have extra time to record this video. I'll be doing another video shortly explaining why I haven't been uploading as much lately and what's going on there. But in the meantime, that's where I'm going to leave it. That is my thoughts on the Bayonetta 3 situation as it currently stands. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section below. What do you think of all this? Do you side with Helena Taylor still? Do you think Platinum Games lied or is telling the truth? Are you going to be picking up Bayonetta 3? Will you be boycotting it? I want to hear everything you have to say down in the comment section below. And yeah, with that all said, thank you all for watching and please subscribe. Novus Corvius out.